Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the showdown between the Warriors of Chaos led by Kolek Suneater and the Dark Elves who are going to be led by Darth Malekith. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. Up here in the Vanguard area, I do have a couple groups of the Marauder Horse Masters. So in total, we do have 3 groups, and we're basically going to be trying to utilize their relatively high missile damage at 37, definitely handling some business. We're going to be working with the Lore Metal. So the Chaos Sorcerer can overcast the Plague of Rust, and I think its base is 30. When you overcast it, it goes up to 60. So essentially, if you overcast it on a very heavily armored target, like some Hargoneth or even against Malekith, it's going to put their armor very low, and you're going to get some pretty huge damage from these Marauder Horse Masters. We're going to be trying that out. Hopefully it works. And aside from that, we do have the Searing Doom as well as the Transmutation of Lead in case we just want a more straight up fight. We got Kolek Suneater for our Lord. He's pretty independent, definitely very good against Dark Elves, as long as you can stay away from the focus fire of the Dark Shards, and it looks like he does have the Bolt Fiends back here, so he's getting pretty crunk on the missile play. But as long as you can stay away from that funny business, he can mash on Hargoneth, he can take out Malekith, very, very powerful. We have one group of Chaos Knights with Lances and some Poison Warhounds, 3 groups of Chaos Marauders for our infantry, and some Chaos Warriors with great weapons here in the back. Halberds defending the Soul of Damnation. So the Soul of Damnation, relatively accurate by Hell Cannon standards. It can do some heavy lifting against elite armored infantry, so we'll see how it does against the Blades of the Blood Queen. So for my opponent's army, you can see he does actually have the Raven's Heralds. So normally I would say Chaos is one of the few matchups in which you can get away with using the Raven's Heralds because they don't bring a ton of missiles. But in this game, it's going to be a little bit tougher for them simply because I brought all these Marauder Horse Masters. For his main line, all Hargoneth Executioners and the Blades of the Blood Queen, who are just taking a pounding from the Soul of Damnation back there. In the secondary line, he's got Dark Shards, Bolt Fiends, all kinds of funny business. 2 groups of Spears to protect him, and Malekith atop his mighty dragon. Without further ado, let's jump right into this match and party. So over here, you can see I'm going to be swarming around the flanks, trying to get away from the Dark Shards and just, essentially, I wanted to distract him with this formation, keep him focused over here, and keep him from getting to my Hell Cannon, because it is doing devastating damage to these very expensive Blades of the Blood Queen. So right here, I do use the Plague of Rust, and Kolek just coming in with his hammer raised, ready to party. He just smashes those guys, decapitating a couple. I'm not sure how his hammer would actually decapitate those guys with the mass of it. I feel like it would just crush them, but regardless, we're not going to ask questions. So we get some pretty decent little skirmish damage. Kolek's coming in there. My opponent is responding with his Dark Shards, and you can see the Soul of Damnation still just annihilating these very expensive Blades of the Blood Queen. So I think these guys cost 1,500, so the Soul of Damnation, in a way, is almost paid for itself. Definitely doing very good stuff here. So I fall back, having gotten some very good skirmish damage, and now I'm switching onto the other Hargoneth Executioner. So I wanted to spread the love a little bit. Since there's more models here, I figured the chance of doing damage was a little bit better. So from here, I realize I have him overextended. His archer's a little bit out of position, so I'm going to charge in with the Hounds, although they got a little bit ahead of themselves, so they're going to get mangled by these Hargoneth pretty badly. But the Chaos Knights are going to be coming in as well. Right now, I'm just going to be kind of sticky and moving. So Kolek comes in, those Chaos Knights get a nice little charge and run down those Hargoneth Executioners. You can see they're pretty low. They're down to 54 models, but they're shaken, and their HP is definitely taking a beating. So, of course, Kolek is a very mobile lord with 78 plus speed. So we're just going to keep sticking and moving. Kolek's just getting in there, taking some Dark Shard fire, which is fine. He has a big HP pool of plus 6,000 plus. So we're just going to kind of charge and keep my opponent from getting to my front line. So the Chaos Knights come in here, get a nice erect charge right into the Blades of the Blood Queen there. Definitely proud of those guys. And with Kolek coming in, we should be able to mulch them. In the meantime, the Marauder Horse Masters are going after the Raven's Herald here. So they're going to be giving some good Overwatch fire. It looks like a chill one going down for my opponent. Decent stuff there on the Chaos Warriors. But he was trying to pick off the Soul of Damnation with the Raven's Heralds, which is definitely a very good play. But, I have the mobility here. I can definitely get over here and pick these guys off. And looks like there's going to be a Blade Storm going down right on top of my guys, but it does rotate the wrong direction. So I actually wasn't paying attention to this. So had that gone into my guys, it would have been bad. Good Gaze of Malice for my opponent right there. We're getting pretty wild. Right here, he does land Malekith down to try and actually attack Kolek, which is very risky. I think he figured he had the support of the Hargoneth and the Spears nearby, so it would be a bit of a safe engagement. Still, I would say that's pretty dangerous. The Chaos Knights just kind of sticking and moving, rotating, looking for vulnerable targets. So right now, I'm going to get the Chaos Knights back here and rear charge these guys, which could potentially turn an engagement in which these Marauders are just getting pounded to an engagement which they might win, which is going to be pretty cool. Over here, the Chaos Warriors with great weapons are going to intercept as well. And this other group of Marauders, I actually ran up and through the forest, and I planned on rear charging here. So trying to use my numbers and my mobility against my opponent. We are able to take out the Raven's Herald, the Repeater Crossbow ROR up here in the air. You can see they're getting taken out by the Horse Masters, who are pretty good against such targets. They only have 30 armor, so definitely a very ideal situation. Right here, looks like the Chaos Knights are charging into the back of these guys, and it looks like just an absolute sandwiching here. You can see they're getting patty caked pretty hard. The Hargoneth Executioner is surrounded. The Chaos Knights have such a good charge bonus. I think the ones with lances, these ones have what is their charge bonus? Look, it's actually 80, which is pretty incredible. We get a great charge. Those guys are pretty worn down. We did also use a Plague of Rust in conjunction with that charge because Chaos Knights don't really have the best AP on the lances. I don't think on the swords either, but we're able to do some huge damage there and hopefully be able to finish those guys off. In the meantime, Kolek is just fighting some of these Argoneth Executioners. My opponent is advancing with the Dark Shards here, but as the Dark Shards do advance, we're just kind of, focus firing it with the Soul of Damnation, so I was pretty lucky my opponent didn't actually finish it off, but this thing is a monster. 107 kills this game, and here comes the next shot, right into the back, and it just devastates the Bolt Fiends back here, so they're getting some pretty good shots in on Kolek, though, which is unfortunate. You can see his HP is tanking a little bit. Bounce of Power is still in my favor, just a tad. But man, look at that Soul of Damnation. It had 108 kills, now it's up to 133 on these guys. And I don't know what happened here. I actually meant to send the Chaos Knights over here, but I guess I charged them into these guys somehow. It was my fault there, but we get a good little charge there and finish off those Argoneth Executioners. You can see Big Papa Kolek there with his Pimp Hammer. Now going to be turning his attention back to the Dark Shards, which are basically just doing a ton of damage. And he does actually have the Shield Breaker on the Bolt Fiend, so they're able to do some okay damage against my Chaos Knights. In the meantime, it looks like Malekith is trying to get against my Horse Masters here. It feels very Norskin, like a bunch of guys with spears trying to take out a big dragon, but Malekith, we use the Overcasted Plague of Rust, putting him down to 20 armor, so he's actually taking some pretty substantial damage here. Looks like the Breath Attack is coming in on the Halberds and the Soul of Damnation, although I think he misclicked. He should have definitely hit the Soul of Damnation there. But regardless, the Javelins are going to be kind of poking down Malekith. They've done about 700 damage since last we looked, and basically I can just kind of kite back and keep poking these guys. I could engage my Metal Sorcerer, but why take the risk? In the back side of the battlefield, Kolek is able to chase off these Dark Shards, and as he does break those two Dark Shards, the Bolt Fiends in the standard group, there is another rallying group. So he's just going to get a nice little Lord of the Storm right there and pop that last group as he retreats. Definitely a very gangster walking away from the explosions moment. And there are a couple of Argoneth Executioners who are definitely not happy about this engagement, but they're gonna do their best. I'm pretty surprised they're actually still fighting, but well, not really. Not anymore. They're done for. Over here, it looks like my opponent has won this particular engagement. The Dread Spears and the Blades of the Blood Queen are all going to be advancing towards the Soul of Damnation. I do get a Transmutation of Lead on Malekith because I thought he was going to stay in combat, but he really wasn't. But the Marauder Horsemasters is running a little bit low on ammo, but they've been doing a great job. Just using that Plague of Rust, poking down Malekith, and just dragging him through the mud. Plus the dual purpose, also getting the Marauder Horsemasters to take out the Raven's Heralds and just do extra skirmishing was very, very useful here. So at this point, Malekith goes for a last desperate charge against Kolek Sun Eater. Definitely, that's how you know things are going wrong. When you have to go fight Kolek up close, like, and he's just getting speared, and the Marauder Horsemasters coming in to make sure to pin him, and oh, Malekith just gets clubbed. Just absolutely beaten down by Kolek there at the end. And that is going to be all she wrote for the Dark Elves. So as far as the army goes, I did like it quite a bit. I felt like it was fun. It was mobile. We had the Soul of Damnation. So that was kind of putting a perpetual pressure on my opponent to keep him honest in regards to his aerial forces, the Raven's Heralds and Malekith. We did have all these spears, so the Marauder Horsemasters were able to get in there and drop some hot spears on Malekith as well as the Raven's Heralds, and they're pretty good. I actually like that quite a bit. And, even if we wanted to, let's say he didn't have Dark Shards and he just had, like, Hargoneth, we could have overcasted the Plague of Rust, put him down to 40 armor, and really taken them apart pretty well with those guys. So I think that was good. Again, I need to test it a little bit more before I say it's like a competitive thing, but it was definitely quite a bit of fun. The Chaos Knights were able to do really well. So Kolek and the Chaos Knights were kind of just running rampant, and once my opponent had to advance from the Hell Cannon, we were able to kind of just sweep through his frontline troops and get a ton of charge damage here with these Chaos Knights. Even though they didn't get like a ton of kills compared to like the Soul of Damnation or Kolek, for example, they still did some really good HP damage on a lot of these guys, and was pretty happy with their performance. A little bit sloppy with the Hounds, that was a big mistake. So anytime you guys are using Hounds and Chaos Knights together, which is a pretty classic combo, you just want to make sure that they're kind of charging in sync with one another, because I basically just lost all my Hounds before the Chaos Knights even got there. So yes, they did like break the charge of the Hargoneth, but the Hargoneth, Hounds are infantry size, so I'm pretty sure the bonus versus infantry does apply to them, so they just got massacred. The Marauders did their job. Honestly, they just kind of held, and basically by the time the Dark Elf front line was kind of through with the Hell Cannon and was done getting cycle charged by Kolek and the Chaos Knights, they were pretty damn beat up. So we were able to really get some pretty good value out of these Chaos Marauders. Yes, they didn't get a ton of kills or anything, but they did their job. So for my opponent's army, I think the heavy infantry is definitely something that can work. I would have liked to have seen Malekith kind of just fly in there earlier, like once the main fighting had started. I think one of his breath attacks might have been able to finish off the Soul of Damnation, and if that had been the case, I think his Dark Shards would have lived much longer and would have applied a lot of pressure. So that was really my only criticism there, that the breath attack wasn't on the Soul of Damnation. But yeah, the Raven's Heralds, definitely still a niche pick. Can be okay in this matchup. I'm personally not a huge fan of them. I feel like their model count, their damage output is okay, but they run out of ammunition before they can really do a lot. And when they do run out of ammo, their combat stats and melee are pretty pathetic. So I don't know. I'll have to test them a little bit more, maybe try it out myself. But I feel like against like Chosen, if there's like a group of Chosen they can kind of just pick on before the fighting starts, that's pretty good. So yeah, Raven's Herald's there. The Bolt Fiends, I don't know if you need these guys. I mean, I guess they do just have better stats across the board, and the Shield Breaker was decent, I suppose, against my Chaos Knights. But yeah, I mean, it was a well-rounded army. He had a good front line. He had good missile support. He had ample protection for his back line. He had some harass as well as Malekith. So, I mean, honestly, had there been a couple like separate engagements, maybe the spears had been up a little bit further to kind of intercept the knights, or if Malekith had gotten a breath attack earlier on the Soul of Damnation, it would have been a very different game. But anyways, very well played to my opponent. I will just call him Hase for now. Look forward to running into you again on ladder, and hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing the Warriors of Chaos in action. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.